This is Azos, and welcome to the video. This topic will be talking about the Necrophage, and below will be timestamps, so if there's a section that you do not need to worry about, or there's a section that you just want to worry about, by all means, please just go into the description and click on this timestamp. Alright, now let's get into the video. Alright, so what faction do you want to play? Well, obviously you clicked on this video, so you want to play as the Necrophage. So, what are they? They're the bugs. They like to consume, they like to fight. That's their main focus, so if you, as a player, like to do a lot of battle, a lot of fighting, you should lean into this army. So, what's the cool little things that they get, or what's like the major benefits they have? So, the first thing that the game likes to pinpoint are the three major situations with them, which is the main thing. You only have one city, which is a lot different and pretty cool, pretty chill. You don't have to worry too much about how your other cities are building. And to add onto your city, it's through a borough system. And now you just don't have one major city and on one territory. The boroughs you claim, you place it down and you claim that area as like the next section, and then you will use your influence to add that borough into your city, and you gain all the tiles, and then you can start building on that one too. So all that gets sent in. So it's not like you only have one city and one zone. You have multiple zones still. But don't worry about that for your territories, which is cool. It's a cool concept. It's very easier to manage because you only have to go through one major city instead of going through multiple different cities as the other factions have. Now, Devour. Devour is pretty cool and a nice little fun way of how we, as a Necrophage, upgrade our units. So, after a battle, certain buildings will give us corpses. And these corpses are used to increase our units or add more populations to our city. But mostly, you're going to be using it to upgrade your units. And basically, win a battle, get some corpses. Nice. As well as when you walk over those question marks on the map, you have a chance of getting corpses. That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. Through your quest line, you also get certain missions that give you corpses, and that's another way you do it. There's a certain building that I will link the building here right now somewhere on the screen of showing that you get food passively, and there's other science that gives food passively. So that's what's cool about that. And then ever fighting, which is more or less when we are in war, we have more approval, making our faction happy. And being happy gives us bonuses to our food, science, and industry. Just gives us bonuses overall is the main takeaway from that. So always being in a fighting situation or at war is fantastic. Now, we'll go over some of the affinities here. So, Hive City, we hunger type of thing. This is more of like a little lore thing here. Then we'll go to Rapid Adaptation. We can specialize with the corpses outside of our territory, which is nice. We don't have to go back to our land and upgrade our units. For this, we only have our faction. We don't have it, so when we can't add more to it. So make sure when you claim or you pacify a village, when adding it to your territory, you're not going to gain a little dude there to put around. So you just got to focus on your own food population that you get a couple turns every so often. The Queen City, which you can increase your population total. Larva creation. Now this is a little cool thing as well. Anytime we win a battle, we get a little larva. Now the larva unit isn't great on its own. You use a corpse and you can upgrade it into 3 different units, which could be either a drone, which is like a little flyer, into a range unit, or another version of a melee creature that has a cleave, which is cool. Usually you go more towards the drone side of things. And then we have Devour the Land. which we can, if we have a lot of excessive units and we're, don't really go anywhere. Let's say you're like, oh, I want some gold. You go to a gold node on one of the hexagons, and you press Devour the Land, and in a couple turns, either 3 or 4, you just delete that resource and you gained it, or your hive. So you can use this as a cool way to make it so that other factions don't come to your, want to set up their cities in your area, like around you, or you can later on be like, oh, there's a node there that has like 10 gold, taking it, anonymously as it. So this is something that's really fun about them. This is the Ever Fighting. So you can pay no influence to declare war on any of the factions. So you can then just use your influence specifically, more or less, for upgrading your boroughs into your city, which is cool. So, you can be like going on to their, like, you could be like 1 square away, or 1 hexagon away from a faction. You could have no influence and be like, yo, I'm fighting you. Boom, bam. You're now sieging their, like, city. Cool. And, the downside is we can't declare peace. But we can still have other factions, like, give us stuff, that's great. Don't feel like you don't need to take more science from a certain faction or more gold. You're strategic, you're not dumb. Just because you want to consume and destroy everything doesn't mean you can't have an ally that you backstab later, type of thing. And the 2 things that you gain for your technology tree is scavenging, which gives defense, and fencing, which increases your farm off the get-go. These things are 2 nice little things. But yeah, that is the necrophage on this part, and then the other sections of this video will talk more about some other things, especially like in the technology section deals with other cool little things that get included for just specifically this faction. Alright, so adding on to some more stuff about the necrophage, some of their faction units and districts that they get. So this is the larva that you get after each battle that you win, or you can build them. Not really needed to build them, though. This is the one of the buildings that gives the corpses, just passively, which is called the feed hole. You will have to, in your technology tree, pick this up to do this. And it is 100% what you need to do is make sure you build this in a specific area that you can have 4 other districts buy it to upgrade it, because you want more corpses. You will have to build both of these for quest chain, the main storyline for you. So these are things that you will need. What is cool about this one is when someone is in your territory that has, you can like shoot at them, weaken them. Kind of cool. It does, I believe it costs influence to do either influence or gold. Increasing your science is always nice, and you can only build once per empire, so be careful where you place that. So some of these buildings are a little bit more in the advanced side of things, or like later on, so I won't go like crazy amount into detail, but just certain buildings will be increasing like your health regen on units, more food, industry, science, movement outside of battle, which is great, especially for an army that likes to fight. This is amazing because every time you build a burrow, it costs more gold each time, so making it so that it costs 50% less is tremendous. Because you can also build burrows, and not just specifically to add to your cities, but just to jump around the map a lot faster. Some of these things will just give straight up bonuses to like certain things like food and industry. Let's see, there's another one right here. It also gives, both of these also give fortification. And then this is the most important thing. So these are like the major buildings that are used, and then these are empire traits. So this is one of the major features of it is whenever you attack, they lose 5 defense per attack. So every time you keep on attacking, they'll keep on losing defense. So when you're in combat, which is smart to do, is attack with a weaker unit, can make it so that your stronger units can swing in a little bit better, especially our heroes swing in like second or third might be more beneficial because they probably have higher crit and higher damage, so that's just how that works. This is upgrading your units outside. This is the corpses again, Queen City. Let's see, I think that was all that wasn't mentioned over on the other side of things. Population scaling. So this is what happens when you have more people in each slot. So more food is increase, more you keep on adding, which is always great because then you can swap those around to get faster science and influence, or just faster industry to make more buildings. So nice little thing to upgrade. But yeah, that's mainly the last little bit. This is just what I have currently as my Empire bonus, so don't really worry about that. But yeah, that's the other little bonuses or other little things that just the Necrophage do specifically. So this section we're going to be talking about the technology screen, or just the research. And we're trying to get early on 8 out of 8 here, so we can get into our next years, which unlocks a 5th hero slot, or sorry, 5th slot in our army, more experience, as well as we get to draw from the hero draft, which is free besides the upkeep, and as well as we can unlock stuff for our base for defense, which is extremely helpful. So we need 6 of these, and there's a certain couple two that are just not take at all. You just take the rest. The first one is defense. It is extremely rare that you'll need this. It's kind of a waste. There is a chance, or there usually is a quest later on that will require some fortification, but there's a building that that also gives fortification right here. So we'll just grab that later, and this is also extremely beneficial for our overall like industry, food, and influence, and it gives us a little population increase, which is nice. So this is a complete skip, even though it says like that this might help our faction, and it's not really needed. The other one is this keystones, extremely rare. The bonus is gives you a little bridge, and what is this? And you can build a dam to stop. Extremely rare. I personally think it's a complete waste. So now it comes down to the remaining of like what needs to be taken. So what you need to look at is also what you have going here up top. So right now we have a decent amount of gold coming in, and so we don't need to push for this one off, like off the second one to get, or the first, I should say. So we have low science, and we need to get into each of these. Every time you click on one, it starts to increase and increase and increase. So most likely in this playthrough, I would do science first, just to help out and increase science. This will unlock a district for science, and then we can put it on one of our little bases, or one of our little tiles, to make a building, because each of these early on will get a building for us. For instance, gives us works, gives us those bonuses below. The gold unlocks the merchant house, gives those bonuses below. And then there's some other buildings like, or research, that will be like this, that will give us +1 corpses capital, just a nice little +1 capital. This isn't something that you should or need to go for like right off the first one here. You can relax on this for just a tad bit. So we'd go into science, and then you have 2 options here based on how much gold you have, and what's going to be your second city will be located. So I was going to have my second city down here, which is going to be more towards the gold heavy thing. So I wouldn't need to go into gold off the go. I would go into a forum, because you will need early on at least some influence, and it's extremely hard to get any influence early on besides killing fortresses, which you wouldn't be doing the first couple turns anyways, or if you walk over one of those question marks, which can give like 20, but that's rare. You can't really rely on that. So I would do this, and then I would go into gold. Those are like my 3 options. Again, these can all be interchangeable depending on what playthrough. From there, I usually wait and come back to the screen to see like what's going on, what's happening, because I can maybe go into industry or I can go into the food depending on like maybe what faction is right next to me. If it's like more of a passive faction, I won't do the food. I'll do industry, stuff like that. This is more or less like the main 3 that you choose in the beginning. So let's just say we finished all that and there's a faction like that isn't going to be aggressive. It's not the Necrophage, so whatever. So I would go into most likely workshop, because this will increase my industry a little bit more. And let's just say I built here, I got my gold going. I would right here in it for like 1 food. I wouldn't build a farm district. I would instead have built a forum here, because 3 influence is better. I would instead have built the farm like here on a 3. Instead, I would actually probably not even build a farm here. I would probably use that for something else, maybe even a science. I know that's a little weird, but you will need science, and sometimes you will put it on districts that do not like have anything that's related towards it. It helps to have like science on science, but some of you can't. For instance, right here, any tile that has like let's see, this is all just based on what you want. So whatever you're missing for your whatever you're low on, you can pick instead. So let's say we have a ton of science. All right, then I'm going to go a little bit more in industry, or more lenient to than science. We don't need to go crazy on our food, because what will happen? Let me go to my hero. Where is he? Because what our heroes will do, I'll go more into this in the hero section, but almost every single of our Necrophage heroes will be picking up this. Earns 20 food every time they win a battle, and you can increase this as well every time. And increasing our food every time kind of just gives us more of this, which will then change it. Like this will be like if we win a battle, this would change from like 3 to 2 instead. So we don't need to like go crazy focus on the farms. It's not bad to do a couple, but you don't need to go like insanely crazy on that. You can kind of like skip that, which is fantastic. So we're going back into our science. That was kind of a little bit of a tangent off, but we'll continue. So after this, we get our 8, blah blah, and we get our total of 6. Yeah, there we go. To get our 8, and then we would go to the next year or tier, and from here, almost 100% of the time, like there's like a slight chance that you might not, but you would go into this. We can't click on it right now, but you would go into this because this also is part of your main story quest chain. And usually by this time that you get to this year, you should be at the part that you would learn this. If not, if let's say you're a little bit behind your quest line and your science is a little bit more advanced, the option would be to, because you can like swap these around, would be whatever you're researching, unless it's like 2 days out. If it's like 3 or more, you might actually want to pick up this and then put that as your first prio. Now if it's science, you're picking science, then let the science finish if it's like 3, but 4 or higher, just you gotta continue the quest chain of your main faction. So from here, again, this is situational, but after you pick up this, your second or third option should be science, because you want to increase the output of how much you're getting through all this, because every time you upgrade, you get a little bit more bonus. City Cap doesn't help us, but more just bonuses. You get another hero, for example. You unlock your last slot for your armies, which is 6, as well as City Cap, experience, and another hero. Like, so every time, you don't want to like be like, I don't want science. You should still like focus on science and building up science. It's not bad. Influence isn't bad also, again, but there's two different ways to play Necrophage. We'll get into that. That's a different section. But some of the main things that you should always build or pick up in this section is this one, because it will give bonuses to all that, as well as this gives you this building, which is a building that gives not only corpses each turn. If you upgrade, it can give you more corpses by upgrading this building is by surrounding it, as well as when you feed the masses, which is this little thing, it's less, which can come in handy, especially when you have a lot of corpses. You can start increasing your population and kind of like skyrocketing from there. So there's that building, and then there's also this building, +5 health regen on units. Sorry, I should go on this first. It's this building, and then you have this. So just alone, the +1 movement is amazing, especially if you lose out on the +1 from killing the 30 different units. This will like kind of like sway you back into the beginning of zooming around the map better, because your heroes will give you +1 to your army, but you know, more movement's always great. So those are 3 that you need. This one's obviously a must, so you have 4 right there. So from here, I like to either pick up more influence if you want to expand, because you will need influence to pick up your new territories, because it keeps on skyrocketing your new territories to get glass, steel, and titanium. Because by this time, the first monsoon is probably done in the tidefall, so like the land is, the water's risen or fallen, and there's more land to go to, and these 2 main resources are on territories that you should pick up, and usually you'll need more influence to grab that. So grabbing more influence is not bad, but as well as getting a market. Now markets are great because one thing is you can sell stuff, like you can sell all your excess of potions, all your excess of weapons, stuff like that from what you're gathering for your heroes that you're not going to use. You can sell like minor resources that just do not help you out, or you have a crazy amount of. Or you can buy as well, buy the resources if you need it for, like, let's say you need like one more glass steel to build a building in your district. By all means, buy 1 if you have the gold. And you can buy heroes. Buying a hero is not bad at all, because at this point you would have 2 different armies with 2 different heroes each, which is just pretty strong. Now granted, you might not have like the best of gear on them, but having multiple heroes is great, as well as unlocking the hero pool. You can do different options that you need for your council based on their passives. There's one that gives more health to all your units, which is nice. There's one that every time they win a battle, they give more resources of a certain type, which is great if you're just going around wanting to fight with that hero. So the market is solid. So we have 1, 2, we have 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I think right now you need 1 more. Or 2, yeah, sorry, you need 2 more. So you're not going to take this one again. There's really no point. Maybe in multiplayer if you know someone's really aggressive, but I think it's a waste. More than half the time it's going to be a waste. And this one is very situational. The only good thing is you can predict the weather, but like it's so minor that it's not really needed. And especially if you're not by a river. So that would then put you into more gold. So boom, there you go. There's your second year. I'm not really gonna go crazy into the years to follow, because this is where it completely splits. But there are some things that you need to look out for. There's the obvious pickup, the Hive Guardians, which this gives increases and unit upgrades. I will say at this point, anything that has the little icon of whatever faction icon you pick up, you should pick up those, because those give amazing increases. These buildings are also needed for your storyline, as well as always pick up science. You need more science. And then I would probably, after picking up this, I would pick up this, because you gotta look out for some of these little things. Always just highlight over this. There's no rush. And just giving 8 damage to all your units, obviously non-hero, is just huge. That also just takes in consideration of when you do like auto-resolve. As well as, depending on how your, like, the little villages around you, what like their bonuses are giving, you might want to get another slot for them. As Necrophage, you don't really like need this, but let's say you find like one that you really want like extra crit or extra damage out there, and you're like, oh yeah, I need that, and you obviously pick up this. If you're not lacking any food, you don't really need to go food off the get-go. Influence, again, always influence, always nice, so it's an auto pickup. Anytime that you see also approval, you definitely want to pick up approval for your cities, because approval at certain milestones will just give increase stuff, like just increase 30% is amazing. Obviously you want to like hover around like 85 to like 90. You don't need to go over like 100. 110 is not going to really help or anything, so it's nothing crazy. But yeah, like early on, getting to 60%, just a huge increase. If you can get happy like before turn like 15, you're in an extremely solid spot. You don't need to like go from happy to jubilant like extremely quick, but like you should always try to inch your way towards that. So you got that, and you go in for your stuff. So then from here, it kind of, you know, just read over this, figure out what you need, and so we'll just skim over that. And again, pick up the things that are based on your specific faction. Always good. You don't need to go for those like right off the get, but you should again just look at those. Again, right here, 20% crit on units. That might not seem like, oh, you're like, oh, crit's RNG, but like crit can definitely change an attack tremendously when you're fighting a unit. So this could even be a pickup before these guys, just because these also require like a lot of special resources that you might not have at this point, or gold. So picking up just the base crit is amazing. And yeah, so from here, this is where you start to like have to choose between them. It's one or the other, so just keep an eye on what you pick. And then at this point, when you're around like year 5, it's you don't need to like completely stress on like what you pick. You know, just pick what you think is best. You don't need to like min-max crazy at this point, because usually at this point everything is tying in together, and you're kind of on like the back end of like knowing what you're inching for, if you're going for like the full science role, or if you're going for like more of like a population influence for the land, you know, stuff like that. You kind of want to lean in more towards that. So yeah, that's the major science. And if you get to years like this, then you're kind of like you're just winning at that point. You know, this is a very rare situation unless you're just focusing fully on science. In multiplayer, this might change. You might need to start like honing in more in multiplayer, but multiplayer is still very new, so we don't need you know, it's gonna be more solo. This is more of a solo thing. All right, so that's major points for the science tree, or the technology screen, I should say. But the recap is, you know, make sure you pick up things that are based on your faction. The AI or the recommendation of it suggests it because it's good. You know, you don't really need to go for fortification or like the prediction stuff, like the stuff that deals with bridges and waterfalls. And science, influence, and gold are always great to pick. Yeah, that's the end of the technology section of this. Once you start your game up, you'll be always welcomed with this screen right after. You just press begin new legend. So this is kind of just like the first couple turns, like the first 7. What you want to do is just do a quick little zoom out. These question marks you'll want to go over. They give little nice goods, sometimes increase science, sometimes resources. gold, stuff like that. You also want to check to see if there's any little pacified villages that you can take over. Sometimes they can be great, sometimes they can be bad. This one's not bad to have, that you'll eventually be able to include into right here. You'll have to use influence, so as Necrophage, don't dwell on that too much. So you have a couple turns. On the top it says you don't have to like put a base down like instantly for your capital, but you know, don't be afraid to like check. The game definitely does help you show like a decent amount of resources, but use that more as a guideline, but not like a definite. So what I like to do is the first couple turns is just go out and seek. I take away my hero and start searching a well, because they can fly over certain like objects. Say there's like a river, you can fly over it, while these guys just have to stay on the ground. So I'll move here, 15 science, nice. I'll move with these guys up. This is kind of like the first couple turns of just like searching. So what we're looking for is a decent amount of industry, a little bit of farm, and maybe some gold. Science on the first one isn't bad. It's definitely welcomed. Having something like this, an anomaly, is huge. This one's not bad at all, actually. We will be losing out on one slot due to this village here, but the only issue is we have a ton of don't really have a ton of we're like evened out with industry and food. Kind of want to like search for like 8 industry, but I mean this isn't bad because we have a good amount of science, no gold, so that would mean our second like base will be gold related. So let's take that in consideration. We can search a little bit more with this group, but we might fall back to that because having influence, don't know if we can really show it yet, but when we get back to it, having empire approval can give you nice bonuses, and you should definitely shoot for that. So we can just end turn on our turn 1. Kind of just keep on searching. Again, if you need to, zoom out really quick and see where question marks are. If you can't really like tell this little like shining area right here. This also helps out to see if we have more villages to like capture or search for. Because oh my gosh, this has 3 here. I didn't know you'd actually have 3 early on in the game. This might be out of the ordinary completely. And that would actually help a ton with the industry situation. This is, in this gameplay, this is not bad at all. And then our second area would be gold related, because there's been a change with how the first hero works. I'll just go over this really quickly, but this guy now does not give minus 100% upkeep to drones. That has changed, just for people that are coming back to the game. So another end turn. What you kind of want to do is probably have your first capital down around turn 5 at the latest, because you want to start getting your quest going. As turn 7, minor factions start coming out of their little homes and wandering around, and as Necrophage, you kind of want to start fighting them, so you can start working your way to killing 30 different units to gain plus movements. Nice. So this is a lot of gold here and here. Obviously, if we can, we just don't want straight gold. But at the same time, it's not bad. And you could just do this, just, you know, sometimes it gets bugged. I don't know what to do when it gets bugged like this. You just kind of look. This isn't bad because when we expand outwards, we have so much more land. that's something else that you got to take into consideration where you place your base, like, because when you surround a district, you also increase the production of it, or the outcome that it can go. Oh, this land over here looked really nice. Should have gone up. Well, oh, that's nice influence. So we're going in turn 5. So I'm gonna have to basically bring this guy back. Yeah, so like right there is really good. Probably be our second base, not our capital. Ooh, this isn't bad, another anomaly, but it's in like not a good area unless this expands better. Alright, so turn 5, we're definitely we're not gonna make it to the, found some people. Oh, we found more, the other necro, action, which, oh my gosh, they're trying to build a burrow on my land. Kinda wanna go right here. I'm not gonna make it. Yeah, we're gonna be 1 turn behind, so I'll continue exploring here, but I want to make sure I place right here. So I want to be, what, 3 tiles away? 1, 2, 3. So we can go 1 more up just to explore. So that would most likely mean that their faction's like right over here. Yeah, so this was not a great search. Oh, this land is really nice though. So they build that. And then they're going to try to attack us, but we're going to build our capital in time. That will not push them off our land, by the way. We will have to deal with that. So this is our second quest, which is to build 2 burrows. But that's not what this little thing is. That's a different section. So right here, this is turn 6. So from here, we have our second quest of build burrows. So at this point, we would go here, because we're going to need gold. And then these guys will keep on exploring. We zoom out, we don't see, they're over here. So this, if they're right here, we should be going, pushing ourselves this way. This is actually a really strange start, would be a strange start. So another thing is like, oh, if you're like, oh, I don't wanna, I didn't like this start. By all means, you don't have to play this through. This isn't like a one and done. You can completely restart. And so we're gonna do another example of this really quick, just to show a different start as well. Alright, so second start, we're coming in again. Anomaly right here, just give it a little check. Gonna be behind in a lot of food, but again, kind of want to shoot for more or less industry on your first, but don't count it out. So let's go searching. This is a crazy area, and this health regen as well. I personally love this miner faction. The health regen on units is, I think, is pretty huge, especially when you're going in different territories and just wanting to keep on progressing fast. You can then just heal up. Maybe it takes 1 less turn, which is pretty big when you're moving around. So like this is probably, there's no food here though. Go up here, and that's still like, where was it? Right here. Good thing is that it also gives a little bit of gold, a lot of science. So that would mean that our second base, if we were to choose this area, would have to be more into industry or food. Which right here, again, food. Okay, so we'll just take this, keep that on the back burner. Keep on going with everybody. Go up here, grab another little node. 20 dust is huge, because we're also gonna need, what is it? I think it's like 60 dust. Like 50 or 60 dust for like our first burrow, and then after that it's like 100 something. So we're moving to that. Glass steel's nice. I mean, we're nothing too crazy. Let's keep on going this way. We're just looking for different biomes for the most part right now. This isn't gonna be bad because of the gold little anomaly. This is a little weird. This isn't like bad, and then we can go science as our second one right here, or like right here, get a little bit of gold. I would probably go right here for even more industry. Yeah. So we would probably build our capital right here as one example. But again, just it's only turn 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So as of right now, I would 100%, no matter what, have both these factions or both these territories eventually, and have both of all 4 of these pacified, because that's 12 more, so it's gonna be 22 health regen total if I can do math. Yeah, in total, which is just nice. And let's put this up. So this is a territory that will be unlocked after the first tidefall into the Monsoon, which is great. Oh, never mind, wrong minor resource. Which you can now see right here is what we have. We haven't unlocked any others because technically we haven't gathered them yet or built onto them. Extra movement is very nice. We'll move them this way. Just see what other factions we have. Bad. We'll check over here. Alright, going into turn 4, it kind of seems, unless there's something different over here, we're going to be going here for the industry and gold, into the science for our first barrow, and then maybe over here for our third. It might be more gold, actually. Might be like right here. And this will give a lot of food. It'd probably be right here as our third burrow. Yeah, that's probably what we're aiming at. Okay, so let's just end this turn, just so that we can go through the motions. So we go right here as our, sorry. Our thing, capital. Our quest will technically not come up yet, but one thing to do is put that in artisan and start building this guy. This will increase food, gold, dust, all that. It's a nice little bump. We don't want to use our gold. We don't want to use our gold. We don't have a second quest yet, so let's not deal with that. But yeah, so that's basically how you do like the first couple turns, first 1 to 7. Again, you can start searching. You also want to start bringing kind of your units back at this point to a main area, because at turn 7 again, units will come out and they'll start getting a little angry at you. Some of them are just kind of like passive and just saying like hello to you. So for example, I'll probably start moving these 2 units together, and they'll start moving together. Move this unit down to like right here, and they'll probably build their second burrow right here, just so that they can fast travel or travel through the burrow system. For science, this is where things will come into play based on your map, so I'll come back to that in another playthrough, or into that section, I should say. Alright, so that's the end of this section. We'll get into the next one. So this section will be talking about the quest line, not the full quest line because it can deviate based on your choices at a certain point, but more or less like the first like defined quests. So it's the beginning of turn 5, and you get your little first quest. I'm not going to go like through like the story of it, but the main takeaway is you need to build 2 burrows. Now you don't need to have it so that they are attached to your city, you just need them to be placed on the map somewhere that you want to eventually bring to your city. So turn 5, you kind of already scouted out the map. You're like, oh yeah, I want this one and I want this one. So you're like, yeah, let's go for that. So you search and you go, alright, it's 50 gold. So you're looking, you're like, okay, this is pretty solid because you have some gold increase. You have the appropriate amount of slots all the way around. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go for that. So we'll go there. And now your second one will not be placed down for a little bit because the gold increase is going to be happening. So it's turn 5. You need to get to turn 7 so the mobs start coming out. So at this point, depending on how far you scouted, it's time to bring all your units together so you can start fighting the little armies that come out of these villages. As well as, you know, just keep an eye on this every so often. You do not want to spend your gold, so do not do that. So, end turn. Going into turn 6. We will build our first one. Right here, we'll start this burrow. And then, again, we'll just start bringing our armies closer together. So, what's great is that we're between the 2 of these, so depending on where whichever one pops up, we can start attacking that. So, this is great. Boom. They spawned up here, so we'll jump them right here. Oh, they came right to us. Fantastic. Makes this way easier. We don't need to, like, bring the army in. We can just attack right here, and that should be enough. Let's see, instant resolve. We will not. I'm just gonna fast forward this so that we can get to the next thing. So I'll skip ahead for this. All right, so they're dead. You win your first battle. You gain another unit, another little larva. All right. So now, where do you go from here? Well, you need more gold. We're losing gold. That's a yikes. So, because we are going to need 125. Good thing is, in 3 turns, we'll have this that will increase our gold. So that's nice. So, technology, because of our gold situation, we will have that as our second one to come in. Alright. Influence is 100. So it's going to be a couple more turns. Maybe we can get lucky and find some influence somewhere. If not, all good. So we'll end our turn. We got another person. Great. So let's see how much influence we will gain if we put him here. We'll gain 7. But that's 3 turns. We're going to do this. We're going to keep him here. Because if we go here, it'll be 1 turn, not needed. We don't need to worry about the food. Because that's not going to or increase our population. Not going to be a worry. So we'll go here for a 7. This way, in 3 turns, we can include this, which will increase our gold and our science. Great. So let's move this way. What we might want to do is actually drop this unit here and just let them be for a turn. We should have moved after that. We should have actually had it so that they get recuperated. We should have moved them. That's a misclick. That's okay. So we're going to continue this way. There was a faction over there, or an army that was roaming, so we should try to find them. So we just finished our increased science. So what we'll do is we'll have this ready in the back burner. This is something that we might not need to do, but we'll just do that for now. That's our turn. We're going to start having them heal up. Let's see, where did they go? Most likely went down here. Yeah. We'll just have them join at this point. Alright, perfect. Next turn, they might come attack us, or we'll just have to attack them. Nice. They wanted to fight us. Let's see. Instant resolve this. Perfect. You don't have to fight. You don't have to fight every battle. Don't feel like you need to. So we have the gold now at this point to make our next area. Now we could go here for influence, which is fantastic. Influence always is great dealing with our approval. Sorry, our approval, but our big deficit is gonna probably be gold. So we're gonna continue our plan, coming down here, grabbing a ton of gold, which probably that. Yeah. And then next turn, we'll be able to include this into our base. So right here, I wouldn't go like the full. I would go one less, get a heal up. So go with this faction, and we'll go here because we want 2 more. Industry is really good. It's better, I should say. So we'll go here. We have this army here. So with this, we'll move up 2 and heal. This unit's still healing, but we will now. We will actually wait a turn, because we will bring in the gold instead. Yeah, that's probably the better bet in this circumstance. And we can take away the influence and go more towards our industry. Yeah. Okay. So we are now waiting a turn to get our quest line. So we got our 15. And now they're going to want us to kill a little army somewhere. So let's figure out where they're at. Okay, so they're right here, so we're going to have to go there. What's great is we can fight this faction. But we're going to have to manually fight this, so I will come back to this. Just going to speed ahead just so that we can get to the good stuff. Alright. So we lost a guy, but we gained a guy through winning. We get our little larva. Alright, so upgrade real quick. So we could attack these guys to get our 2 extra in, which we probably will. Should be okay. What we'll do though, so we'll do a little shenanigans like this. We'll have these guys attack. So we'll fight this one out again. So I'll be right back again. Alright, so we lost gained for the thing. So we will teleport them here, because that one faction's right there. We can have these guys join in, which is great. We will include this to our evolve. We'll get our gold increase, which is nice. We'll have our signs coming in. Alright, so there's that. Bring here. And we'll join them. Now, let's see. It's probably actually smarter to just wait a turn, so we have a full force, and they'll probably attack us. Okay, they didn't attack us. So now we'll attack with a group of 6, which is nice. You can instant resolve this, but it's still early on, so let's play this out. Alright, so we killed it, and we gained a little armor, which is nice. Now we need to upgrade 2 units to feeders, which at this point we should have more than enough to do that. So with our main army, because they have gained the most XP, we will click on this and upgrade them to feeders, which will unlock the next section. And this is where the last consistent always part of the quest will lead up to, and then from here it can branch off to different little ones. So where that is located, that we can't really do for a little bit, at least for 15 turns, is right here. So from here, you're going to want to continue with your research, maybe put more buildings into science if you want to rush to it. You can start upgrading all your units as well. So what most likely you need to do is increase your influence currently as kind of the buildings you want to inch towards, so you won't really be getting that for a little bit, for 4 more turns, so that might be a little bit too long. So let's see if we can bump that down to 3. 3 turns, not bad. And we'll start on another science building or gold. Gold is fine right now, so we'll go another science. We won't be coming to the science for a little bit. Alright, so that's basically the beginning of the first couple quest lines. So at this point, what you should be doing, or what I would be doing, is I would go around and continue going to the minor factions and killing them. So at turn 14, so that would mean next turn another minor faction of this area will be popping out. So what I would do is just wait here a turn, probably make sure to heal up and level up as well. Anything that you can, type of thing. And end turn, faction should pop out. There they are. So they'll come to us. Again, extremely kind of them. We have 50 food. I would upgrade one of these to a Citadel, which is a range unit, which is nice. And then, depending on your food count, you could also upgrade one to a Necro Drone, which isn't a bad option. So we'll do that, and continue this. So let's just fight this really quick. At this point, you should be able to just instant resolve. We'll add them too. And then we will move this way. Yeah. Again, when you're fighting battles, you'll be gaining gold. You'll be gaining food, which will now increase your production of your people coming. So from here, we'll do this. We don't need to worry too much on food at this moment. All right, so this is how it would play out. We would continue just cycling around. Once you get once you fill this up to both 4s, when that little extra guy would come out, I would just have that guy being sent around to go explore, figure out what the first faction is near you, or a couple factions near you, figure out if you can see any glass steel or titanium through like the water, stuff, certain things like that. See where maybe there's more anomalies. That's what you would kind of do for a while, because at the moment, let's see if I click on the proper one in the beginning. Under quest rail. Okay. So what we are hitting, about what we're trying to hit, is this one right here. So we're at 12 out of 30. We don't need to kill the main villages yet. You want to keep them up a little bit, especially because they can hurt right now. You want to maybe get your army a little bit stronger. So keep an eye on this. It's kind of important. +1 movement. If you're lucky, you can maybe hit this in time. There are factions that will get this before you, but as Necrophage and any army, this is not bad to go for +1 movement. It's kind of good because you're needing that too for the food, for your whole thing. And the main thing, it's food, not corpses you're winning, but food is important. All right, so that's going to be this section about like the quest line and what to do kind of like early on in your first couple turns before the first monsoon hitting. This section we'll be just talking about what to do right when the first monsoon hits, as well as the council. So boom, monsoon. Major things is that your health regen non-allied territories is pretty strong. +20 health is nice. Vision range on units, a little scary, but nothing crazy. And 100 gains on battle spoils, which is tremendous. as well as, I don't think it doesn't really state this, but I think the food also goes down? That might be later. Okay, so let's just confirm this. We are lacking in gold because we have a ton of units from all the little victories we have gotten. So we've been focusing more on gold at the moment. That's scary. But, so, Monsoon, you can also go here on the right side for reminders. So let's go to the console. Let's figure out who to appoint. So once again, this guy has been changed. It's not a minus 100 upkeep anymore, so your gold will... You need to look at your gold more often, be more cautious about it. But health regen on units starting in their territory, their turn in allied territory, isn't bad. But let's check the other ones. We aren't jubilant though, but we can get to it. Food on capital isn't bad. This is probably a must out of all of them. Industry's not bad. Again, you can also change these around. Cost a little bit of gold, so it's not bad. We will do the health regen. 15 food on capital. We're not really gonna be on our own territories for a bit, so let's do food, because the food can then also increase our units or our population, which then we can put on for gold. More food, more science, stuff like that. Once again, though, the only one that will be consistent is this guy. Everyone else that you get along the way can be different. There's one that gives like science on. There's one that can give like industry, stuff like that. It's just all RNG. There might be a list somewhere that has like every single one, but as of right now, I have not found that and have done a complete deep dive. So this is the first Monsoon. You'll get another one second, and then the third. So don't really worry about these nobles. To also get more nobles, you can have pacified villages become in, which is nice. So we'll apply the changes, and then here. So if you want to reassign a console, it's 4 gold. So just did that. Nice. Now, what has changed on the map? You have more of these little question marks that pop up, and a lot of them will give movement to your units, so it's not bad. So currently, what I've been doing is I've been putting all my little guys on this auto explore because we have a ton. And now you can, of course, do this all individually. By all means, go ahead. If you want to try to like min-max it a little bit, but for the most part, the AI does really well with exploring. So we don't need to like go crazy focus on that. The major problem right now that we're facing is the gold, so again, we will have to look out for that. We just got enough influence now to include this next borough, so now we have 3 in our factions. And we are looking good for science and industry. So that is amazing. There's our plus units. We could, if we wanted to, use feed the masses here, but we are not going to do that just based on we want to upgrade some of our units here in a bit. Food. So let's just double check some stuff. Yeah. So that's the major thing. We don't really need to focus on science now as much, so let's see. So that didn't change anything. So right now we can be finicky with it if we want. And see, so we want to keep that at 5. We can look over here to see if science is increased or going down. And it looks like it doesn't matter. So there we go. So we can play it like this for right now. This way, increase our food. We have a guy at 1. So yeah, we're gonna have another guy. We can include that. So this is another thing you can do early on. I recommend doing this early on, probably for the first like 40 turns, give or take. can check this off. Eventually, if you want to, you can just be like, okay, focus on this, focus on that, and the AI will do it for you. And this does it pretty well. As Necrophage, you don't really need to worry about this. Definitely for the other factions, because you can have multiple cities. Alright, we're done with that part. Now we should continue on our most important part, is getting this, and we lost it. This one, we lost it to the other Necrophage. Now, you could be like, alright, I'm done with this playthrough, let's start again. By all means, you could do that. You probably have been, what, 30 minutes, an hour in? You know, by all means, do what you need. But we then see that we can gain this, plus 3 pop. So we just need 4 more. The only way that we can really do that is going through influence, so we'd have to find another territory that we want to pop down a burrow, and then include that into our city. And the only one that would really do that is right here, because we do want some more approval. So right now we're just at 62. We want to get to Jubilant. So we get to Jubilant, we can change that guy out, the food guy out, especially if we can stay at Jubilant. And we also have the one faction right here, so we don't want to. We want to watch out for them. Watch out for them. So this area right here wouldn't be bad to also pick up, but I think I'm going to be picking up this as my next one. So as well as what I like to do at this point is start clearing out the camps as well, just so that they are not spawning here anymore. There's really no point anymore to worry about them. What you can do, and it's not bad not to, is to keep one camp up, or one village up, anywhere you want it. So since this is away from a faction, probably maybe this faction, keep this one up, and you can go back every so often with like a small army, and the wandering guy, you can kill him and gain a larva, and then send that larva to another to your main army type thing. That's not a bad option. Don't really need to do that, but early on it could be decent. So you just go around killing these villages off, start including them into your faction. For example, you could buy this out and add them. I will not do that because I do not have enough to put them into this slot yet, so I'm not gonna really worry about that. I'm just gonna let that passively do that. I'm not gonna buy that out with gold. So yeah, this is what so the main focus on the first Monsoon. Go around, collect up these question marks, can increase influence, science, resources, as well as finish off any villages, and if you can, start trying to see if you can find any any of these major resources, titanium and glass steel, coming on the edges. You can slowly see them coming through based every turn of the water, because we have only 12 turns, 1 to 12 max of when the Monsoon will end. And with the units that are exploring, it's not bad to go like the opposite direction with and like start seeing and figuring that out. So yeah, that's what you kind of do during the first Monsoon. Okay, so you're a Necrophage. What is your victory condition? Obviously, you just kill all the factions off and you win. But realistically, you kind of want to hone in on something that you as a Necrophage is really good at. And the easiest one, I think, for them is to kill the fortresses. That's pretty simple. And then you can also then gather supremacy, which is gaining 22 territories, and that's how, when you're killing a fortress, instead of just getting like the influence, you take that territory, boom, there's another landmass to you. So these two are really good for the Necrophage, and it's probably the go-to for them. But you can also, play your own way, have a little fun. one that you can pick up that's not too hard is wealth. This will be later on in the game, active yet, but you will need to fill out this. This is what those 6 are. The other ones, I don't think you'll be able to really hit unless you like hone in on them. It's this. And what, we're only at like 32 out of 150. And to do that, you would go into food. You just hone in on food. I'll probably do a playthrough of that because that'll be kind of fun just to see if it's possible. I mean, it is, but you know what I mean. So it would probably be master is what you want to hit. And then after master, it would probably be wealth, and then probably influence, as influence will play into supremacy due to the fact that if you do want to buy out any extra territories, you're gonna need a crap ton of influence. So yeah, this is what your victory path would look like for the next. And if that's something you like, you know, if you like to do combat or like destroy things, this is definitely the army. So that's kind of what you would go for the game, what you want to win or how to win. Combat section, mainly just focusing on like that. So it's turn 7. The little couple 2-man units are coming out of their villages, and we want to fight this unit, start with larva and more resources. So what we will do is we'll set it up so our faster units are kind of right here. We know for a fact that we're gonna wait a couple, or like 1 or 2 turns for them to get closer so we can fully surround them with all 4 attacks so we don't lose out on a full unit. Is the instant resolve right now is we lose a unit. We don't want that. We want to output more units through our thing. So we'll manual battle, and we will just end our round. Ending our round will also put everyone on defense, so we don't need to manually do that through each one. Let's just double check to see every unit hit this one. So they look like they can. So we'll bring this. This is the other thing. You have to make sure that you move your units before attacking. You should get used to that. When you move your units to attack, they become encircled, and the more units that are around them, they lose more. So it's always helpful to do that. What I like to do also is to attack with the lesser unit first. Just go from there. Double check to make sure like your arrow doesn't just like one-shot kill them. So it's gonna be all in auto finishes your turn. Come in, they'll probably attack a larva because they usually attack with least strength unit. So we'll just go around again. Larva, into our into our drone, into our hero. Nice. So didn't lose a unit. Get some decent XP. The only unit that got affected was 1, and now we have another free unit. If you still have some excess of movement, what I would do is have made this guy jump out and then had this person join in. This way you have like a full health unit already, and this guy then could start healing up with his recuperate action. So that's one combat. Let me start up another combat somewhere else to show you different. So this is going to be the second version, different unit. As what, like before you fight, you can also just check to see what they're good at, you know. So they have 5 defense only, but so this is their passive. Defense. Gain a berserk. So if you're gonna bring below 50, try to kill them. So yeah, we could technically add another group to our reinforcement, but we're just gonna play this one out as not reinforcement, just be our little army of 4v2. But when you do have an option, make sure that if let's say you have multiple armies around, there will be an arrow left or right type of thing here, and you pick which one you want, and make sure you pick the right one. Sometimes, but we'll do that. This is a nice little feature too. They have it so that on your map, that are like nearby, you can add them and do that. a recent thing. So we will confirm. Let's see. Instant resolve. So you could just take this, and then a turn or 2 turns will be to recuperate. Isn't bad, but we will fight this out. So what we'll do is, this is basically a great setup already. So we will manual battle. And 1, 2, be fine. So on our turn, let them come in. Alright. We will not be able to hit them. So what we'll do is, because the force makes it so that we're less as fast. We'll go like this. Let another turn go by. Nice. So a unit can hit it. So again, we're gonna move in with our slower units first. Round. Come right. Now we circle them, and they lose 25%. So their units, let's see, does it calculate? Yeah, so they don't have as much armor compared to that one that has 20. This one now has 11. I'm looking at the right side of the screen. That unit has the 20 as the armor, as the 11. So we'll go through with our larva first. Try to see if we can get a kill on this. So that might be an instant kill. So 42 to 56, 47, so this unit is not having more movement, so we're just gonna fight with them. The safe side of things, and we kill them. Now let's see what the AI does. And then, so we'll attack again. We have high ground here. This might kill them. So you can also zoom in. I should mention this. Q and E rotates. So you can, like, you can move around. You don't have to, like, be still. So this is a little bit, if you notice, like, the terrain has a little bit of high ground. So you can move there. And over certain things that will give you bonuses. So, for instance, forest costs 2 more movement. And gives some defense against, like, range units. So take that in consideration. It's just not point and click, go there, type of thing. Alright, win battle, and instead of our Necro drone and another unit almost completely dead, we only have one little drone that is weakened. And we now have gained another drone outside. This has no more movement, so in a way, what I would do is I would recuperate with that one. And I would start to, next turn I would bring this one out, recuperate, and then move with this group around. And just kind of like slowly follow them so they start getting their HP. And I would go for another unit of a little wandering army. So I would, since I've killed this one here, and I killed this one here, I would head towards this one, and then I would move over here. And it wouldn't be until the first Monsoon that I would attack the villages. We bring it down to like 1 each, because there's 2 in each area. You want to only have, you only need 1 there. They're not going to spawn any faster. It's always 7 turns. Which is something you should take in consideration here. Is this is turn 8, so plus 7 will be here, and this was last turn was 7, so 14 and 15. So you can just keep on cycling around with an army of like 2 different armies of 4 each, so you have your 8. You'll just cycle around, you should auto-win every battle then at that point. And any little larvae you get after that, you can just have them going, wandering off, and searching stuff for the part. You don't need to have 3, there's no point to have 3 armies following around you. So yeah, that's early in combat. Okay, so in this instance, this is going to be a little bit more of a battle at the Citadel level 1, which this unit is a little bit higher than they need to be, but at the same time, it's your main army, so you most likely will be using all your corpses for it. So let's go ahead and fight this. You can never auto-resolve this, and it's between Plunder, which gives just flat plus 100, or you can seize it, which will then just take the land. And for this, I don't want to capture this, because it's a little bit outside of where my territory is on this map. So I'm just gonna plunder it for this playthrough. Remember, same thing as always, we're gonna set up our army. Recommend pressing Q, so it looks like we're going downhill on them. And this is our range leader, so our flyers are pretty quick, so it wouldn't be a bad option to bring our speeder, our soldiers, again, closer so they can move in. Alright, so manual battle this. So we have 2 range units, so we definitely want to get in on them. So probably what would happen is we would probably manually move, go from here to there then, just so that we don't have it so that they can surround as well. Ooh, this is already in with less movement because of the new system that's in play. If you walk past a unit, you get less movement by 1 each time, so that people just don't bum rush the ring. So I'm gonna move here and here with this unit. And if you notice, I'm getting these on the enemies, which is being encircled. I kind of want. And I'm gonna move this guy over here. This way I can get a good line on this. Now the reason I want to take out the range is because they do more damage to flyers, and my hero's a flyer, and I have 2 necrogones that are flyers, so I kind of want to deal with that. So what I'll do is I will maybe only be able to kill 1 of these. I have to see how many ones would have in. So I'll attack with this. Should get the kill with him. I won't talk about his passives in this. We'll just as simple as possible. Alright, so 1 range unit is done, and this range unit has the broken focus, which is why you kind of want to be near the range, because they do less damage. So I want to take out this guy now, because this guy is a little too strong. This is like the leader of this group. So I'm just going to go all in on this unit, especially because he's surrounded. Double check to make sure. So this might not kill, so I'm just going to go all in on that. And he did win, so he does have an ability on his talent tree that makes it so if he does kill somebody or unit, he has another action. Now he can't move, so in this circumstance, if this was like a dangerous battle, you could use a potion, whatever potion you have to like heal a unit, get more damage, do that. In this circumstance, I'm just gonna do this so I can use an action. So now we're here. I'm just gonna place him here. This is to body block the unit so he can't come too near. And they're just alright, so I'm gonna walk through my own unit here. And, he didn't take any attack of opportunities because, for example, you see the little red lines on those. That means I take an attack of opportunity, which can be devastating. So once again, I'm gonna kill this. Now, I talked about that free action if you kill somebody. So I'm gonna go in, kill, and I get to fight again. So there's that huge swing that you can do based on what you set up your hero. So now I'm gonna move this unit here, and he gets to be encircled. I'm gonna attack with a weaker unit first, so this way I can start haunting them. Perfect situation. The unit that I don't care for the most is like taking all the hits. So I'm moving my units around so my little melee guy can come in and get into the fun of the action. And I like to just, if I can, just finish it. Alright. This is like the basic way of dealing with combat for the Necrophage. Mid-game, I guess you could say, killing out the different fortresses and how like main faction battles will be. And this army is kind of like your basic go-to before you get to the next upgrading units. So you just gotta like I usually, like I said, for my loadout, I like to have, for the 5 army, is I like to have a hero that's range, and I usually pick always the warrior, and then I go with like 2 different, I either go with a rusher and a corpse hunter, or just go straight 2 corpse hunters, and I keep one of the soldiers, just as a melee for now. Let me find another battle for Gator again. Alright, so we're a lot deeper into the campaign, but I just want to show an example of like a level 2 fortress, or in this situation, a cult shrines. And what I like to do is, I would, on my 6th unit for this specific type of loadout, I would add another range unit, and I would drop my drone and my soldiers and upgrade to behemoths. Now, what's great about behemoths is they have a lot more health, a little bit slower, but they can swing, which is right here with wide swing. Is you can hit multiple units with it, and that's amazing. So having that is great, and they also increase the time that it takes to siege a city, which is phenomenal if you get through the process of just action. So we're not going to seize this area, we're just going to plunder it. So again, we can search through these units. So this is infantry. I don't think this one can range units. This one's going to be a little bit more heavy on just getting in there and fighting toe to toe. So it looks like it's a little bit interesting. I think there's a ridge here, so anyone from below here shouldn't be able to attack from above. So there might be some cutoff points. Since these guys are the slowest, I'm going to move them up front. My 2 range units do not be so cold. Probably be like this to the safe side. That's not even a way up, so that's why you zoom in. This is the only other way is around right here. So what I'm going to do instead is move them right there. These guys can fly over stuff, so fun. And then we're just going to manual battle and see what we get. Alright, so this unit right here, they have blood mending, which is kind of a scary thing to have. The restoring health, so if you can, try to destroy them if you are going to destroy anybody. So, for example, the cleave, if we came right here and attacked, we would hit both of them. Fantastic. And we can't attack from up here, so we are in a little bit of a weird situation. So we definitely want to get the cleave in. So what we do is move this unit there. Let's continue moving. Don't finish at that point. So looks like this flying unit would go here. This the Harrow would go like right here. So we kind of cut off a point here. This is all they can do, all they can move. So let's bring our double check. So let's bring up our range right here. They have no range units, so we don't have to worry. And we can just bring up. Alright, so we have full in on stuff. And since we can't hit these guys, there's really no point. Go for them right off the gate, unless we have like. So, first things first. This guy's the only one that has the negative of the circled, so we're gonna attack that guy first. Since we have the cleave, we'll go here. Do a little bit of damage, and we'll probably go with that. So, go here. And this guy still has, this guy has no movement, so we're just gonna finish him off. There's no point to use a range unit on that when we're gonna lose out on it. So this guy still gets to go, but since there's only so much range to hit, we want to kill out this unit completely. If so, I'm gonna shoot with the weaker unit, and like this. I don't think I'm gonna kill this unit at all. Not, but since I was able to hit the guy that was below their mark point, they're all marked now, so they take mark. And this unit, I killed a guy. I don't have anything else to do, but I can maybe use my abilities. And I can't. I can throw a potion. I can throw a 4 like right here if I wanted to backline it, but I'm not gonna do it. End my turn. They're not gonna be able to really do anything because they're blocked. AI is gonna try to do something. So what I'll probably do is kill this guy with range. Actually, I'll probably kill this right here so I can get that debuff to those 2 units. I'll get more crit. Oh, and this guy spawns a horror unit. I'm gonna take the attack of opportunity here because I want to move my unit away so I can bring in another. This is massive because he's 100% created. So what I'm gonna do is just let it loose. Probably kill that. Nice. Alright. I can't move through. Don't want to get. If we can attack from uphill, by all means, let's do that. Because we're attacking from uphill, we're doing a lot more. Do that. We will use that a little closer. There's a little more movement. There's no way we can move in to get another crit there. And this unit can't hit that unit, so what we'll do is we'll, no matter what, fire with that, so this will be 100% uphill. And we'll just defense. It's that, and they'll come in. How dare they? I'm gonna do this a little bit quicker here, just so that they get a deficit. And after that, you get your goods. And usually, every time I finish a fortress, I double check to see if there's any items that I think should go on a guy, or if I need to. And then I would go into my hero and just check really quick. Like, oh, there was that this thing. Gives me. I have 6 minutes. I get. Don't have 6 months. So I'll just go back to that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way of doing it. If we could find more might on a piece of gear, then we would swap it out. Or, like, you know, check your weapons. And you can go kind of quick like this. You can just look over here to your left and right. And usually I just like to do more damage over everything for the most part. But again, like, if there's something that's like, let's say this one gave, like, this was less damage but gave you might, it's actually probably more beneficial. This one that is the might, because your overall damage might actually. Yeah, so that's the combat of the Necrophage. You can go way more in depth with it, but that's like the sum of it. So let's go over some of the basic units for them. For the units, this is what you'll be coming up to with the main screen when you are looking at the larva. So you have your Necrodrone, your Spitter, and your Feeder. Another way to look at this is speed, flyer, range, and melee. Both Necrodrone and the Feeder are melee, but one's more speed, one's more just like ground. The major takeaway is you don't want to make a lot of spitters. In an army of 4 or 5, you probably only want 1 spitter. And then in an army of 6, you probably only want 2. You want to more focus on melee. And you don't want to go all into melee, because if you go all into melee, there might be a turn or two where you can't attack with all 5 or all 6 melee, so range is always a plus. What is cool is we'll go through each of the specializations for each of them. We won't like go crazy into it, but we'll just go into it. So let's go into the Necrodrones first. The left side the main bonus that you get is a passive that increases your movement for the whole unit and the army, so just +1. And then the second one of it is +2. What is great about, or what I also use, Corpse Hunter is what they get upgraded to, or in the Bloodseekers. But what's great about these is you should always have 1 in your army, because it has just +1 movement is great. It stacks. So if you have 2 Corpse Hunters, that's 2 more movement. If you have 2 Bloodseekers, that's 4 more movement. So you can make an army just full of like Bloodseekers and just go zooming across the map. well, they're not the strongest thing, so, you know, if you're using them more or less for fighting, it might not be great, so using them for scouting, not bad. But again, always try to have like one corpse hunter, maybe two, in it. So that's what that side of it is. Now, this side, the Rusher, kind of gives it away of what they do, is they have Fearless Charge, which in a sense doesn't sound good at first glance, but it's pretty great on the first turn, which is kind of like where you want to swing the tide of battle. So you move 3 tiles, not hard at all, and boom, you do a flat 15 and then an extra 2 based on their level up, which, you know, nothing insane. And you can always move around the unit, you know, like around and still not take an attack of opportunity on like your following up turns to do this. So, and then the second upgrade is just more damage overall. Still same thing, 3 tiles. I should mention that every time you upgrade a unit, other stats will as well be upgraded along the way. Let's see what else is great. What's great about the Corpse Hunters and the Blood Seekers is it's just food and gold. The other side goes into like your Titanium and your Lazulian? Something like that? We'll go into one of those. So, kind of want to stick away from dipping into that. It is what it is. Titanium is something you should always go for, though. Alright, so for the Spitters, the range unit, you have to automatically go into the Corruptor. This is where it kind of like is like a bad thing in a way, because you can't use something just to buy gold, so you're gonna have to go into your Titanium for this. So it's another reason why it's not great to have like a ton of these, because you kind of want to use a Titanium for another unit on the right side, which we'll talk about in a second here. So you buy one. This goes from range 3, continues to be range, but you pick up Troll, which now they just ignore the defense of target units. Fantastic, because defense's range is kind of a problem. Can't really do anything about it, really, so this is just huge. This just increases damage overall. Now, this is where the split happens for them, and what I like to do is I like to take Defiler, not just because it's gold, and gold and corpses to upgrade. I keep on saying food, I mean corpses. Is that you get Inspirational Strike. And now, Inspiration in this game will give 30 extra damage. This is amazing. That's plus 30 damage. Like, huge. So, just getting plus 30 damage on maybe like 3 units. Great. So what you would do is you would move up with your melee, or you would shoot just in the beginning of the turn, and then let your melee move up, because once they get to this part with the cruel that they get, the armor doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, sorry, defense doesn't matter anymore. So you're kind of good on that end. So you would shoot and then attack, basically. Or you would move your 3 melee up, you would move them right behind it in the hexagon way, so it like has like 2 or 3 guys touching it, and then you would shoot, and then you would do your melee attacks, and they would get 3 extra damage each hit. Nice. Now, if you don't really want to care about that, or like you don't want to like worry about your positioning with that, is you can go the Infestor, which when you kill a unit with them, you get a feeder. So what a feeder is the upgrade over here. It's just the base upgrade. They still get all the bonuses of your army that comes with it, though. So like if your army has like passive other stuff like increased damage or health or armor, they'll still as the thing. So that's the main takeaway from these two, is one will, if you kill, gives a feeder, and the other one can give inspiration, which is just straight 30% damage to the units when it just shoots. Doesn't have to kill. Yeah, just when it attacks. Alright, so that is the range unit. Now, the fun unit. This is where everything becomes a little bit more fun. So, we have our just basic gold, which goes into Soldier. Oh, I should mention, so one of the cool things about them is Swarm. They ignore attack of opportunities, and if they attack our Juggernaut unit, you add 20 more damage. and when they eliminate a unit, they recover 100% HP. So certain circumstances early on, you can set it up so they do this, and they will go back to 100. There are some cases where like you just can't have that happen, so you know it is what it is. But if you can set it up like that when you're doing manual combat, by all means, go ahead. Beneficial. But anyways, all right, back to the gold one. So this soldier will then also get coordinating attack 1. When an attacking unit is encircled, you do more damage, and more damage is great. And because of how the new combat system works, you want to always encircle your units, 3 people around it, counting this one. So you're just getting an extra 15% flat damage almost every single time. So that's not bad. This is something that you probably do early on. These guys are pretty strong and cheap to do. So the last upgrade for these guys are slicers. Kind of the main thing is they just do more damage. Now, I can say I've only ever had one slicer through all my playthroughs, just because the next unit that this can transform into is the behemoth. And I rather, instead of going to the slicer, I rather just destroy or sell my unit of the soldier and create a behemoth instead for the upkeep cost. So what the behemoth brings to the table is just not that it's amazing. Just the name alone, and the model in game is cool as hell looking. It's Juggernaut. So what Juggernauts do is they increase the siege damage, which means that when you're sieging a fortification of a enemy, it'll be faster, which is something that you do need to do. You need for speed. This way you're not waiting like 5 turns, you can wait 3 turns. Just speeds up time is great. In combat, they have a wide swing, so they cleave, which is tremendous because cleaving 2 units is better than hitting 1 unit. Cleaving 3 is amazing. And then you can go, well, not go, but also they have some defense. So, like I said, this is more of like a beefier unit. Pretty solid. They are a little bit slow, but if you have, if you have your little corpse hunter, they have +1 movement, so nice little thing in it. So from here, you can go to the gold section, which the main thing is for the gold section is you have Shattering Strike. They will now apply the vulnerability, which is 50% less defense. So just giving yeah, so either attacking or defending. But when you're sorry, I had a brain fart there. But just giving 50% less defense to a unit is amazing. You cleave 3 units, they all have 50%. You can swing in with other units and do damage to them. The other variation of it, the Savage Behemoth, what they get is Blood Rush instead. So when they kill a unit, they can gain their action back. It's only once per battle, but it's pretty huge. They still have the cleave. So you could get a unit kind of close down, have this guy cleave, kills 1 unit, cleaves the other 2 guys again, and like those units might die or like be extremely low. So basically, look at this guy as a 2-in-1 for 1 turn. 2 units in 1 for 1 turn if you can kill. So that's like the main units of it all. So how I like to set up my army is, let's say you start off with 4. Okay, you have your hero in 1. And then what are the other slots? So the other slots that I would have for a group of 4 would be a Necro Drone. That my first upgrade for the Necro Drone would be the Corpse Hunter. And then from there, I would have 2 feeders. Because at this point, 4 melee is solid enough that you'll always be able to attack with them for the most part. Now the 5th slot you will then include a Spitter. And you can then either drop a feeder for another Corpse Hunter so that your army will be faster with your group of 5, or you can lean into the Rusher. So either way of how you want to play it out. If you want more movement throughout the battle, or just a little bit more damage on the first round of combat for going that. So again, only group of 5, only 1 range, because you want to be up close and personal and doing damage is just better for them. And you want to start saving your titanium for your behemoths. So towards the end of, before you get to like your 6th slot, will probably be a little bit before this, you'll be able to make some behemoths. So you kind of swap out some stuff. So you keep your 1 range, you keep your heroes, there's 2. You do 1 corpse hunter, and you will attempt to get your corpse hunter into a bloodseeker as soon as you can for the extra movement, and then you go 2 behemoths. And there's your 5. So hero, range, corpse hunter, and then 2 behemoths is your 5. And then on your 6th, you would add another range. So that's kind of like your main, like, basic army. Now, if you want an army that's really good for sieging, you just go, go like 4 behemoths and 1 range and a corpse hunter for movement, and you could just use that as a way to like go sieging while you have like other armies around defending them or going to attack. A nice little army to have set up so this way you just auto resolve all the time is you just go 5 behemoths and a bloodseeker because you want some movement. And that unit will always just auto resolve and win everything. Obviously, if there's like multiple armies around, you're gonna have an issue, but that's a nice little thing. So now let's say you have 2 heroes. Now I like to rock a melee hero and a range hero at that point. I don't like to double dip if I can. And then when you would do though is then you wouldn't have a range, you wouldn't have the spitter then. You wouldn't bring another spitter into that army until you have the 6th slot. That's when you would bring in the range unit. And by then you should be able to have most likely at least the corruptor part, so this way they can do pretty decent damage due to the cruel, or you can then however you want to do on your playstyle, the infestor or the defiler. So that's like the main setup for there. Now an army of 5, if you have 2 heroes, would be like a melee and a range. Then you would have a corpse hunter, and then you would have either a rusher or another corpse hunter, and then just 1 feeder. Most likely it's going to be a soldier. So that's how you would rock that. But you would drop instantly when you can into the behemoth. Having your main armies with behemoths is just game changing. It just kind of like pushes the tide a ton with your power scaling and like auto resolving. So yeah, those are the different units for the Necrophage. Alright, so you just got to your technology tree, and you get your you get your 2nd hero technically. So you open this up, and there's a personal preference that I like, and then it's kind of just based on what you want to play. I personally like to go for Archer, as this way I can drop the range unit in the current army I'm using as like the main hero one, and have a stronger one in it, and can focus more on the melee, because this guy can give some decent bonuses all around. Very passive as well. So this is what I pick, and if there's 2 options of a range unit, go for the one that has might early on, but you should also look at the benefits when they're in the console. So it's not bad, but you don't really want to gun home for these right now. You kind of definitely want to go range, but let's say there was like 2 options between these are both range units, and ransack or dust to buy out on city. Probably do the buy out on city. That's probably way more beneficial because you can then just go faster, especially with the more gold, getting the buildings out. So we're gonna pick him, or we're just gonna inspect him, and we're gonna go more or less now into like their skill trees of each individual and what I like to pick, not in a specific order, but for the most part of what's best. So actually, before we do that, let's go into the first one that we would get, which is this, which is the warrior. First hero is always a warrior, so let's inspect and go to skill tree. So a 100% pick that you should always do is the restless predator. You earn 20 food, and then you can get more based on your intuition or resilience. Those last two, the intuition or resilience, you don't need to like focus on those, but those are good if you can get them on like gear or whatnot. You don't need to like say no to them, you know. But for the most part, for your this hero specifically, you kind of want to focus more on what might and resilience, which again you can get some more food for it. So this is for almost every single necrophage hero the first thing that you should always pick up. From there, it can deviate based on which type of if it's a warrior or a range unit. So for this one, for the warrior, I like to pick up physical training. It's a passive damage. Always passive is nice. Again, it just increases across the board. Most likely, you're always going to have might and resilience pretty high, so you're just gaining more through that. And those are your first two that you need for this tree. For the second tree, then for the warrior, this one I would probably pick up movement, because in this one we lost our extra 1 movement, so I'd probably pick this one up first. If you gain the +1 movement from beating the 30 units, then you would not do that and instead pick up this one to increase damage for every unit besides the heroes in your army, which is just massive, especially for a necrophage or any army technically. So it would be this one, and then most likely we'll go into the movement. So it would be one of the two based on your personal preference and what kind of was the outcome. From there, you will always, or should always, go into room for more. If you like combat, or like you want to be more particular in combat, this is huge. Just having an extra action it's only once per it's once per round. My apologies. I think that might have been changed. But the fact that you can if you kill a unit and you're already right next to another unit, you can kill them. Or if you have a potion, you can use the potion, which is great. So you gotta have to immediately keep an eye out this and don't attack with him first. You want to attack with the other units and then swoop in for the kill with this guy. So this is huge. Definitely get this no matter what. Could be your second option even if you don't want to pick up movement and you want to keep on getting more damage out, especially if you don't want to auto resolve. You pick up this as your third. As a fourth one, this can be kind of contradictory in your pick, but based on where you're at and what you are doing, if you are fighting another faction, it is not bad to pick up where is it? Pick up this one for more siege damage, which in turn is solid for getting through their defense and being able to capture their city. Or you go with more might, more damage, which is, always out. Passive damage is great. Sometimes the abilities, if you notice, I haven't really been going for the abilities because they, sadly right now, they're extremely, I wouldn't say extremely, but they're definitely situational, and you don't really get a huge outcome from it that the passive can. Like, the passive will always 100% give you the output, while these are kind of just like, you might hit your own units, for example. So I like to focus away from those and let the weapon I pick up or assign to these heroes do those. So that would be either or. That should be your 6. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so one of these would be your 6. Let's just say you pick Siege Engine. So then you unlock your next tree, bro. This is tremendous because what you can do after battle is you can recuperate. Even until this is changed, I would recommend picking this up always. Now, if you are currently in a situation where you're sieging a lot, or you're in a battle currently with another faction and this unit is the one that's like sieging, then instead pick up this so you can raise it more. Like you basically capture it faster, which is great. And then if you can lean a little bit into the intuition. Don't have to go crazy into it, but if you can put some gear with intuition on it, by all means go ahead, just so you can speed up that process. So it's either that, or this depending on where you're at and what you're doing. This was changed. You don't really need this. I don't think you even look at this anymore. But okay, so then you got those two. Where do you go next? Then you hit up this one if you didn't pick that one, or this one if you didn't get that one. And then let's see if anything else has changed. This isn't like bad as well, because usually when you're fighting someone that's damaged, which is someone that's below a certain threshold, is you would be the one that kills them, because you would want to use your kill it to gain that action. So it's not bad to pick this up, but at the same time, because you have the extra movement after the fight, you can recuperate. So this one can be extremely situational. This one, double check this because some of these have changed. It's an active skill, so you have to be kind of setting it up properly, which you can do. This it wouldn't be that bad. Which will actually, yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but what I like to lean into is just going right into might. I just start putting my points into might at this point, and that seems to be extremely well, because then that starts increasing your passive damage just all around. Right here, you can also go into health, but based on all your gear that you're getting, your health isn't really like anything that should be an issue at this point. Might be different based on multiplayer, so don't be afraid to pick up this one, but you can just start spamming might at this point if you really want to, and just outputting the damage, because, you know, best defense is a great offense, like the saying always says. So that's kind of like the loadout. Again, you can swap it around a little bit. You don't have to, this isn't like set in stone, but this is just a recommendation. So, and that was the warrior. So for the second hero, we're going to discuss about the archer, which is what I like to pick up as the one that you get from completing the first technology tree for your first hero draft. So after picking up this guy, the first one, Restless Predator, especially when you combine this with the guy that's in the first hero, which I recommend that you do. You put them in the same army, just makes that army extremely strong. This will then be 40 food, which is amazing. And then the second one that I like to pick up, now I will explain this one, but this isn't one that we pick. Now, this is not really great unless you're going to be going more towards a range unit type of army. So we kind of don't want that, because you want melee at this point, especially because with the new system is you want it helps to have 3 units by the enemy that you're fighting, because it reduces their defense, which is a new thing. So we don't pick up this, but instead we pick up this one, because what this can do is when you hit a damaged unit, applies mark to the adjacent enemy unit, which increases your critical strike, which can by 100%. So attacking with your main hero right then is probably going to kill that unit, especially because they're already like below a certain threshold, which, if you remember in the warrior, if you kill a unit, you can then use another action. So these two play like off of each other in a way. You don't have to like overthink it, but before you attack with your hero, or when a unit's below 30, just attack with this guy to mark a unit that has crit. So there's your first 2. So the next 4 is, at this point, your other hero's probably already a little bit more ahead and maybe already picked up +1 movement speed. But if they haven't yet, then you might want to go into the +1 movement speed. But I would recommend instead is going into this one as a passive, which gives hasten. The first round is +1 movement. Oh, what? I think they've changed it. Just +1 movement in combat. It's tremendous. It's amazing. Always wanting to be on top of your enemy as soon as possible as a necrophage, tremendous, or any army technically. So I'd pick up this one into the movement. Really good. And then from there, let me double check. I would probably do pile driver for extra damage because you want this unit to do some damage. You know, you want to increase their damage. You know, because most likely they're. I don't think I have any equipment for them yet, but most likely their equipment's not gonna have might on it for the most part. You're gonna have to find might through the other stuff. So giving them more might through other means on the skill tree is great. So there's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, and now you're looking for your 6th to unlock the last one. So there's a couple options. You can do this, but this is very situational. Or you can hit the health. Now, this might be like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, why would I ever use this? And it's more or less like if you're fighting a personal battle, let's say like a fortress, and you have a very strong unit that you know that like is going to die, rather not have them die. You could use your turn instead of, and you're not gonna be able to kill them, of course. Like, there's nothing else you can do. Just heal them. Like, this is a very niche situation, but could come in handy. So I would pick up this as an option, or you could maybe go into this, but he's not really going to be taking damage that often, especially with how combat has changed. So this is probably not going to be a pickup, but if you want to, you can. And this again, you need to be a range 1. I don't even bother looking at that. So it would probably be this as your 6th, unless yeah, that would probably be your 6th. All right, so then you open up the last tree, our circle, and if you're capturing a lot with this army, lean into this. This will be helpful. And I was like, "Where's okay?" So this is a nice pickup. More crit is great, especially because later in the technology tree you can get more crit for your units. Crit is always nice. I know it's RNG, but good RNG can swing the tide of killing a unit from 50 HP, from them having 50 HP to having 0. So don't be keep an eye out for this. You could either pick up this or this one, and then it's an active skill. And then from here, it kind of goes either you can start going more into might, or depending on what gear you have. There is some gear that's like if you have 6 of this, let's say like you have 6 intuition, you gain 3 might or something like that. So if you have 5 might only, put a point to getting the 6, and then you increase multiple stats, which is great. So yeah, then you can upgrade this to get more health if you want. As an option, or kind of from here, it's kind of whatever you could say. At this point, your hero's already like level 10, level 9, level 10, and don't be afraid to just put more points just straight up into might, or intuition, or even determination. You don't really need resilience for this guy because he's in the back, but don't say no to 0 resilience. Alright, so that is the archer. Alright, so the other hero, the third one for this faction for the most part, is the defender. Now, you have 2 options here. I would personally go for the might one, unless... yeah, I would go for the might one. Especially early on. So, we're going to go over the talent tree. I'm not a big fan of this one, but you can always make it work. So once again, the first one to grab is Restless Predator. I think this is always just an auto pickup out of the situation. And then if you notice, I haven't really been doing anything towards the experience. I don't think it's needed, and it's kind of a waste of a point, personally. And then this kind of gets into, do you want to lean more towards defense or health? This one's not bad because more shield. Because this guy's going to be having a lot of resilience, so once per battle, just gaining a lot of shield is not bad. But what might be better, let me double check, just straight up health. This one also relies on the weapon and the accessory, the amulet that you pick up. You kind of lean more into what you are, which can either be defense or health base. So for this one, let's just say it's defense base. I'll probably pick up this one because it will always be helpful as your second option. So there's your 2. Now, what are we doing in our 3? Alright, 100% picking up movement. Because this is probably maybe your 3rd hero or 4th hero, picking up movement. And at this point, you pick up this because you don't have the appropriate gear, most likely, to what you need to lean in with this person. So, pick up hero, we pick up this, and then you can go into more defense for your army, which is not bad. Especially if this is like your 4th or 3rd hero, this might not be bad. Starting for like your 2nd army isn't bad, and then you can also lean into some damage because you want this guy to do damage. He's going to be very beefy, but a hero doing no damage, we like, what are you doing? So more damage is great. And then where is it? This one, I believe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. This is an active skill, but it gives this debuff, which can make one of their strong units just go lose like all their defense, and you just basically can kill that unit off pretty decent. So this is like a very nice active skill. Now, if you're using this army more or less just to do a ton of auto battles, then getting this one for more damage is just nice. And again, if you're going more into capturing, you gotta go into the capture points. And let's see, is there any solid passive skill that I'm missing? This one's you gotta be very careful because it's a circle effect, which can also affect your units. But if you noticed, a lot of his moves are just shield based, and I don't think Necrophage with like armor and shielding is the go-to play. I think just increasing their damage and crit is a lot better. Now, if having more defense isn't like bad, I'm not saying that, but at the same time, it's not something you need to go for. You should really go for it. So this is why this guy, the defender, is not something I really like worry about. Maybe he'll be my 4th hero pickup if there's nothing else that's good, but currently I would kind of shy away from this unit and lean more towards a archer, or even better yet, another warrior. I mean, bringing a 2nd warrior into the mix, you can then increase the damage even more of your units in your army. Double stacking 2 warriors, and maybe even adding a rage hero, and then adding that's 3, and you have 3 more units. Let's say you have the 6 slots, 3 more units of just units, maybe 2 range, 1 range, 2 melee, 1 range. You're just gonna destroy things. Heroes are extremely solid, as well as more might. Now, the reason that you might not want to do multiples or triples of like the different types is your equipment. Let's say you only have, let's say for whatever reason, you only have 1 weapon that is really good for warriors, but you have like some amazing archer, you have some amazing what does it start with actually? I want to shield and sword? Oh, it's just a 1-handed weapon. Okay. Or just like a 1-handed weapon. I know later on for this faction, there's an amazing 1-handed weapon and there's an amazing range, but those are both like kind of like mid and one's late game, so like don't need to like worry about them, but something to reminder on. So that's like one of the major things that like maybe you don't go into another warrior as your 3rd. but instead go into the defender if you don't have any equipment. That's probably where I would have to go. Oh, I should go into defender then. I don't have anything for a warrior. Because you still want to make sure, like, you know, your first warrior, your first main hero is like solid, because with that unit, with that hero that's in that unit of army, it's probably going around causing the most havoc to other factions, or even capturing fortresses or destroying fortresses. So those are the 3 heroes for the Necrophage. We don't have casters as Necrophage unless there's something that's added. We don't have this, and the only way we can get casters is through the marketplace. So let me get to the market really quick so we can look at some casters. Alright, so this is a little bit later on into like a playthrough that I had previously, but this is one of the casters. One of the ones I would recommend picking up unless it's changed recently, because what he gives is plus 20% health on non-hero units. Great. You can add that guy to your console. Yeah. So, okay. So these guys are a little bit different, and these things can be different on the right side because it's not Necrophage anymore. But for the most part, these are always the same, and then this is like the hybrid. These can be a little bit different. So I'm gonna go over 2 of the casters that I enjoy using, but this is the first one that I'll be going over. So one thing that I pick up is this one. He doesn't really have great passive skills in the beginning. I'm just gonna say that right now, sadly. But I like to pick up this one. Especially if you can have it so like he's by, like, you know, on the back line a little bit, but like, you know, inching his way near somebody, so you can always give more health, which is phenomenal. So this way, you know, you have, after a battle, you can recuperate less, or even during the battle, your unit might not die. And then I pick up this one, which is can give shields to friendly target. This guy isn't as much as a damage dealer, more than like a look at him as someone that like more not a defender per se, but more someone that gives buffs to your units. So from there, I like to pick up movement. Is probably a must. This especially is your 3rd hero, I could say, if you got the market before you got into the next free hero from your pool, or you can grab what is here. So right here, based on the different hero that you pick, can be something else. I know there's one that can give, for example, every time you win a battle, you get a minor resource, which I'll show in a little bit here. So if you have that, that's kind of good, kind of nice. But I pick up usually this because I'm going around fighting, trying to get this guy's XP up, and getting more science isn't bad. This is pretty huge. So as a 3rd option or 4th option, you will go for crit. Crit is always amazing, and getting more crit for your units, like in the past, just increases your damage and output as a whole. And then, as like the last thing to unlock on this tree, or on this like row, I should say, is more might. I think might is just tremendous for him, just to give a little bit of damage, because when he does poke, you want to poke for a decent amount. And then on the last tree, giving a shield right when the battle starts is pretty nice. Just a nice little shield. You can always set it up so that like you have like the 3 units in the hexagon, and then him in like the little back, so you always, you know, boom, there's 3 units that automatically get it. You can even squeeze a 4th in based on what your setup is. And then usually about then, you probably go into capture points. It's always good, especially when you're fighting and you're, you know, dealing with minor factions. From there, you're not going to really have that many minor factions, so this guy's not worth it for Necrophage. See, this is This is very situational. I wouldn't really worry about this, but it's not a bad option if you're lacking in units, but at the same time, minor factions can be very finicky of what you get. You could, like, so I wouldn't really worry about this one. What you could pick up is increase the active shield, which can be nice, especially on unit. Or where is it? It could be. You don't. This isn't at this point. Walking over curiosity, which are those little question marks, isn't like anything like go about. It's most likely probably going to be Force Blast, because it can do decent damage, which is a nice little greater cleave. Or you go and lean into one of these. Let's see. Do I have anything that's solid for equipment? So for example, I need, what is this? 6 determination. So let's say you only have 5. You would go in your skill tree and bump up 1, so you have your 6, and then you gain the bonus from this, which then increases your might. I don't want to go too crazy into this because this is like a whole nother section that you can go to down pinned below, but that's just one of the examples of why to pick up this stuff. So yeah, that's basically this little unit of the caster. I don't think I picked up the other caster, so let me find a save file that has the other caster. This is the other caster that I like to pick up. And if I do pick this up, it has to be early on. It wouldn't be one that I would pick up later. And the main reason I would pick up this caster is for this luxury resource. And this will just be anything that is related to this stuff. So again, luxury resources can boost up your cities for certain different little things. And the earlier on you get the stuff, the better, because eventually it will require a higher amount to increase stuff. So you don't want to like do this at like turn like 60 when you have like a major increase in like turn like 80 to 90, because then you'll have those resources for each time to use will be like 20, 25, and you're not gonna be gaining a ton at that point. So as a hero to pick up, this could be a great option. Now the only issue is that his council trait isn't that great, but if let's say the other hero for some reason was already picked up, I would probably pick up this one instead, because once again, you want at least one person that can using this type of weapon. If you don't want to like go a crazy amount into different stuff. So that's that. All right, so what we're going to explain here is more of the profile. So this thing will be popped up right when you get your second hero. Well, it will be there, but it'll be grayed out. And what you should do is add your second hero. So let's say you got your range hero. You can instantly pick up open up the profile and add them. And what that does is it makes it so that when they fight together, they get plus 20 damage. Plus 20% damage. Huge. So what I do, and what you should probably do, is add that guy to that unit, and that could be the 5th person for that army, because when you get your second hero, or the first hero in the draft, you'll have it so that you unlock the 5th slot for your army. So this guy just instantly joins. Nice. Now you get plus 20. Just hit level 5 on your hero, one of your heroes, and you get the option now to do a hero haven. You can put the hero haven wherever you want, and it gives some solid bonuses all around. But what I like to do is most likely, not always, but put it by the main city that you did. But you can put it anywhere, and I will probably put it on a gold tile because we are lacking gold at the moment. So right now, I'm probably gonna put it right where they are at, because you can surround it with 4 tiles and upgrade it. as well. I'm like 90% certain you can. If not, it also counts as a district to upgrade other things. So just gonna put it right where we're at, and it will claim it in the next turn. Perfect. Okay, so this guy just built a hero haven, and I can add a companion here. You should probably do this early on. So these are the bonuses that you can get. So just take a gander at them. So personally, I'd probably pick one of these two and have it set up. I wouldn't pick this guy. I would set this up for maybe the defense, the defender hero, and this one might be for range, but realistically I'd probably add this, but like first one and the second one. You'll get more of these based on later on what is through your quest line, and if you pacify villages. Don't shy away from pacifying or adding villages to your capital. Pacifying and adding will increase these options. So I would just assign this. Boom, he's got it. And then, since there's no other hero right now, I would wait before I add another hero, which I can actually recruit a hero for this. So only one range option. I'm just gonna pick this guy and just recruit. And then you can go either or, it doesn't matter. But I'm just gonna assign. There's the 20 damage. That's what you kind of should just always do right off the get-go when you deal with getting a new hero. If you have an even number, add them to the friends list and go like that. And sadly, he's not gonna be able to make it into this army right here. So I'll just do that, and boom, that's your setup. You got you got your 5, and you're feeling good. There's your first like solid army, you could say. And what you should probably do is also look at the equipment. And usually green is probably always better than gray. You can just do that. And we can't sell these out yet because we don't have a trading post. But once you get a trading post, every couple turns, just come in here and start selling. And yeah, so that's basically the heroes. So this is going to be the section about equipment. But at this point, you're going to probably have a marketplace. So every so often, maybe like every 10 turns, just come in here and just start selling off like stuff that you will not be using. I probably won't be using certain potions, so I'll just start to sell. Maybe look at some of these and be like, I'm not going to use these, sell, Just every like 10 turns, come over and sell stuff. What I do like to do is try to keep one of each item if you can. Based on the turn, this game has already ended, so it doesn't really matter. But like, if you're lacking gold, by all means sell. If you're a lot of gold, don't leave. Okay, so one of the major things that can build up your heroes are your necklaces. For example, let's see, I have one right here. Yeah. So this hero benefits from determination due to the fact that this bracelet or wrist guard gives well, first off, it gives 2, but if you have 6, you gain an extra 2 intuition, 2 might, and resilience. So that's just a huge increase. So what we seek for is that on gear. So we didn't get this on this, but we got 4 determination on this legendary weapon. So we're just looking for 2, and then the bracelet or the wrist guards gave the extra 2. So these are some of the combos, for example, that you can look for. Let's see if I have another one really quick. Here's one. Okay, so this is like a pretty basic one to easily go for, is especially with a defender hero, is might. So this chest alone gives 2 might, and I know this weapon, I won't hover over it, but gives like 2 more might as well, and then this will give your 2, sorry, resilience, sorry. 2 resilience on that. I'll just show it. So this one gives 3 resilience, so that's why we can increase to 7, and this will then increase our might to 4. So at this point, this weapon basically makes the defender extremely strong, and you can get this weapon through the quest chain. Like a little past midway through the quest chain. So those are some of like the cool things. Now, I'll go over some of the little fun accessories that you can get. And if you just like, instead of like letting this load up and locking, it's probably just smart just to click on it and come over here. And so you can just look at like different things that they do. Immune to all negative statuses, that's kind of very rare, but you can change this out. Alright, so like I will show an example of this. When you eliminate a unit. So when this guy kills a unit, a horror, which are those little minions that you can also get from a potion that you place down. Pretty nice, you know. This will be beneficial in battles that you manually fight, of course. So what I would recommend is the units or the army that you're using to fight fortresses, for the most part, is where you focus in more on your gear. So let's see. These, as well for like range units, like the range bow, is you should always look out for like distance. So this one's insane, 7 tiles out. But for example, this one's like 4. And so yeah, you gotta like look through it. You don't, there's not like one where like, like, oh, I know this one's always this, Also, passive skills not always means better, Damage is kind of like something you should always make sure you go at the same time for certain hero types. So, yeah, and then for armor, you can get some really fun armors that do certain things. So, like, there's also some things that will give outside of combat. Example, movement. I think there was an item. I don't have it in this playthrough, sadly. Let's see. Do I? There's an item that's like a green. Oh, that's amazing. That like one movement. There's an item that's like a green item. I think it might have changed. That if you kill a like village or anything, you gain the minor faction. Or if you kill a minor faction army, you gain 1 to your army. Which if you can get early on, it's great. There's like that. So you just kind of like come in here every so often, especially before like a major battle, and change things up. And always make sure you're putting on like your highest damage or best stats to increase your damage. So again, example, making sure that you always have 6 of this, because in the skill tree, this increases all their health that they gain, as one example. And increasing might will increase everything that has the little might tag. More might for him, more might for the units, stuff like that. You kind of like look for that stuff. Now you don't need to like, go crazy with it. You don't like after every turn, like, oh, I need to make sure these stats are right. Just like, like, okay, this guy's just like, this guy's just might. Anything that's might, anything that's more damage, go ahead. This guy is, let's go might as well, or something, or determination. Just kind of like focusing on one thing. And almost always, the better the quality, like legendary is probably always better than the epics, vice versa, but most likely not as the like accessory part. This is more always something that you look at, passives or what it's doing. Yeah, that's the equipment tab. Make sure you sell stuff. You don't want to just hold on to everything, and especially early on when you're gonna market, you can buy out certain things really great. But yeah, that's the equipment. That was the main takeaway for all I could think of for the Necrophage army. Hopefully that will clear up a lot of the things or confusion This was a long video, but at the same time, timestamps were below, so that would be helpful. If you made it all the way to this part, I want to say thanks. Thanks for watching it all. If there's something that I forgot, maybe leave a comment below and I can respond to it and maybe somehow add it into this video or a future video. And don't be afraid to, hit the like button or press subscribe to see future content. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Have a good one, everybody.